Talking with people with music in their genes, their blood, and in their soul. You are watching Musical Interlude. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Musical Interlude. I'm your host, Casey Bell, and Jeremy Parsons, who just released his single Things to Come, is our guest today. Let's take a look and listen at our interview. Parsons. So my first question for you is, when did you find music to be a passion?
I was 17 years old. I was in high school. I had just given up playing football because I disagreed with most of my coach's decisions as teenagers' authority, how that sometimes works. So I was looking for a new hobby, and I had always enjoyed music, going to concerts and stuff. Never really had considered it as far as like, oh, I could do this as a career path or anything like that. It's so I fell into it. I had a guitar sitting around the house that I had shown slight interest in when I was younger, and we kind of found each other again when I was 17, and I picked it up. I started practicing. I got addicted to it, for lack of a better term, and I haven't been able to stop playing since.
Can you What exactly do you believe was your encouragement to do this full time? Because this is one of those industries where most people are too afraid, or they're not encouraged by people to fulfill their dream of being in the entertainment business. And so, what would you say pushed you into doing this?
I think I'm one of the lucky ones who had one of my parents was very supportive. My father, he has always done what he enjoys. He's into plants and agriculture, so he became a horticulturist, and he's always just really loved that. So I had a prime example of someone who chose a craft that they were passionate about. They didn't choose a craft because it was fiscally based or something like that. It was purely heart that drove him to do what he did, and he wanted that for all of his kids. And I was unfortunately, I think I'm the only one that listened, but I listened to that authority figure. That's one. But yeah, he was always in my corner, and when I started playing, I was like, "Oh, hey, what do you think of this song?" He was like, "All right, keep doing it," and I was like, "All right, challenge accepted." And I kept doing it, and they got better. I got better, and then the next step is to go play out in that situation. You're like, "All right, well, these four walls seem to be okay with my songs. They haven't fallen on me yet. Where can I go to test some outer ears, so to speak?" And found an open mic in San Antonio, Texas, and I played one song. They clapped and asked me to play another, and I ended up being up on stage for like 30 minutes, which isn't the usual protocol for that. So I came back the next week and the next, and that's what it was. It was, you're always taking a risk, like, and still, like, there's still people that don't favor your music, or there's so many different ears, and they like so many different things. But it's if people want to keep hearing it, then I think it's, I don't know. I told a buddy the other day. He goes, he's trying to make a record, and I was like, well, why are you making it? And he goes, oh, well, I'm making it for myself. And I was like, well, you're making it for the wrong reasons then, because we don't make music for ourselves. The first record I ever made, we write like to deal with our own issues and problems, but we make music for people, just like people made music for us that inspired us. So it's like, we'll write through our issues, but I ended up making my first record because I just got tired of people asking me where they could find recordings of songs. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to spend too much money and make y'all a record. I was like, just so y'all leave me alone. And you make your money back. You're selling your product. You're advertising yourself, and you're making people happy. The fact that people want to hear it in the first place is always blows my mind. Which it works out because, I enjoy doing it. So win-win, I guess. But yeah, it's that support was very important to me, to have my dad. I know a lot of people don't have that, and I'm very lucky.
That was my next question. how did you begin to record? And how did you find the information to know to, go to a studio to record, to get your CDs made, to get the covers made in the press and all of that? How did you gain that information to do all that?
It's you build knowledge, like it's an industry. So you have to think about it like, and this is all, whatever you decide to do, if you want to get into accounting, you have to understand the framework of said job. So when you get into the music industry, there's many artists who hand off that football to someone else, and they're like, hey, do everything for me, please, because I'm an artist and I don't want to have to think about all these things because I can't, because I'm an artist. I have zero focus. We're the cats of the, it's just like, oh, or dogs or whatever, squirrel. But it's, I wanted to know all of that. So I went, there's workshop classes based on industry. You basically just establish connections. You go to one person, see what they say, go to a different person, see what they say. It's almost like reading different books based on opinion or theory. You're going to come across some things that overlap, and those are the things that are usually factual, because it's, if everyone's doing that one thing, then that's probably usually the only way to go about doing that one thing. So basically you ask around, you network. And I lived in Nashville at the time, so networking in Nashville was literally just walking into a bar and holding a drink in your hand. Uh, that's music industry networking. Apparently, is just getting really drunk. That's an industry secret, I guess. I don't know. You can get drunk anywhere you want, but in Nashville at a bar, it's networking. So yeah, that's just what it is. You kind of ask around, you figure out, like you lay out your bases, and then you start running them. And you find the right producer. You want to find people who understand you as an artist, understand what your goal is. Some people have the unrealistic notion. I mean, it's an unrealistic notion to me. I think that's purely based on opinion, that being famous is where it's at. And everyone has a different concept of success, I believe, is the best way to put it. And mine is just like, getting to do this. I've been doing this for over 10 years now. I consider myself successful. Like I've been doing this 10 years without any other job, but promoting myself, like, my gas, my truck, hotels, whatever I need to do, I'm getting to the show. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get to the next show. I'm going to make a new record. It's fun, man. It's a weird life, but you figure it all out as you go, and it's the same with like printing CDs and everything. You have so many options.
So your bio says you toured a few towns, well, not towns, a few countries in Europe. How did you get those gigs, and what was it like knowing you're going to another country just because people want to see you? They know your music and they want to see you. How did that make you feel?
That was the coolest feeling in the world. Knowing that they even wanted me over there is really cool. I mean, there's some places in the United States that don't even want me there. So to be accepted in it, that's not true. It's just a good self-deprecating joke. But that was a networking thing too. I met some people, and by way of keeping in touch and staying on their radar, they I was in line to go, but there was actually a more successful artist in front of me who got in trouble, and and therefore I got to take his spot. I was in the running, but his numbers were far greater than mine, especially over there at the time. And because of his mess up, I actually got to go, which was really cool. Uh, I don't ever like wish anyone to screw up, but I'm super glad that he did that one time. Yeah, so but it was cool. The coolest thing about it is, so first show, I'll give you a funny story. I've told this like a few times, but sometimes I forget about it, but I love it. We played the first show, and we were there for like a week and a half. So we played somewhere between like maybe 4 to 6 shows. I think it was a lot of cool in between time, like especially Norway. We got to go see the fjords and everything. But the first show, I get up there and I'm talking to the crowd, and I'm like, they're just staring at me, like in between songs. I'm like, okay, like I'll embrace awkwardness to the full capacity and really enjoy it for some reason. But but as soon as you start playing, those people are dancing. Like they're like dance floor full. Like they came to listen to music and dance with their partners. And as soon as you stop, they stop and they stare at you. And then right back into the song, they're dancing. So the first show, I get off stage and some of the older acts I was with come up to me. They're like, Jeremy, I would keep the talking to the minimum. They don't really, they kind of different language barrier over here. And I was like, all right, yeah, I figured it was the accent. They're like, what is this guy saying or trying to say? So the second show, I get off stage and the show promoter comes up to me and goes, Jeremy, why didn't you talk as much that show? And I was like, oh, well, they told me at the end of the last show that it might not be a good idea. Maybe I was wasting my time or something. And the show promoter goes, everyone came up to me after the last show and goes, I love that man's speaking voice. We want him to continue talking. I'm like, I'm getting mixed messages here, man. You got to help me out. So the rest of the show, it was all stupid jokes and classic country songs and stuff like that, and people dancing. It was such a great experience. They took care of us too. It's freaky going somewhere like that. It's exciting. It's, that culmination of emotions where you're like, I'm so pumped, but I'm also freaked out. I know nothing about currency or anything. In fact, I gave someone a tip over there because I hate carrying coins. And so I just like unloaded a lot of coins on this woman and she started crying. And I was like, oh, and they were like, dude, you just gave that lady a lot of money. I was like, oh, my God, I had no clue. Cause like, coins here. I'm like, oh, please take all of this stuff. Now there was that supposed shortage for a little bit, but like they have like $5 coins and stuff over there. So I'm anyway, it was very generous and I don't regret it because my pockets were way lighter the rest of the day. But it was stuff like that I'm glad that those guys were there to keep me from being a complete idiot the whole time. And just a beautiful country, like slept with my windows open, like the food was good. There was like 6-foot tall women everywhere, which is just fascinating and awesome. But yeah, I'd love to go back. I stay in touch with a lot of the people that I met while traveling over there, which is really nice. But yeah, nothing like it. Super surreal and what a blast and like what a cool way to think that someone's heard of you from that far away. That's like the beauty of where we are with music and technology. We could complain all day about royalties, but the fact is, like, I can't throw that far. So
Exactly. Okay, so let's talk about things to come. Your latest single. What was your inspiration, or who was your inspiration to write that?
I think there's a lot of self journey in that song. Every verse is a real story, from a situation that I like fully remember or like kind of is a little bit blurry, but I still got something from it. I could still feel it if I can't see it. I went through a phase where I was doing a lot of too many things at once, I guess is the best way to put it, as far as alcohol and certain drugs and other substances that were being thrown my way, because apparently I'm really fun to hang out with, and sometimes that backfires, I guess. I didn't realize. But it was I think we all have those phases in our lives, and I feel like they're real necessary. And if anyone's listening who's considering going through one of those phases, I would say do it in your 20s, because when you get to your 30s, it's way more difficult and very messy to watch. See a lot of people who waited too long. I don't recommend going through the phase at all if you don't have to or want to, by the way. I'm not recommending this. I'm not endorsing drug use or destroying your body with alcohol. But better in your 20s, I guess is what they say. There's that old joke, there's a time and a place for everything, and it's college. Well, I guess that bleeds over into your 20s as well. But it was a journey for me, is introspective, and I tried to write that song probably 4 or 5 times to do it justice, because where I was, I didn't think there was a future. Looking back, I was so sad, so angry. I was so many things that I just didn't want to be anymore. And when I say didn't want to be, I genuinely no longer wanted to exist. And that was weird for people to hear later, because I was literally, they were like, oh, you were so fun. And I'm like, the clown always has something to hide. Like that's why they wear makeup. I just, and it took the right people coming to my life and holding the mirror up to you in the correct way, because the real truth of yourself and other people is that we can't deal with things until we're ready to deal with things. And some people are never ready. And that's also a choice that's up to you. Like you can conquer whatever is in here. You can conquer all this internally, but you have to be ready to and willing to do so. And it takes the right delivery, and it's hit or miss. You never know what's going to happen. Like you have so many guys like the Kurt Cobains and all those guys who died so young. And if they had the right person, or something else around, like who knows what could have been different. But it's luckily, I get to continue telling my story, which is nice. And I'm thankful to, my ex-girlfriend helped me out a lot. I had a lot of real close friends. I kind of kept family out of it, because it's just, I like I said, I genuinely thought I was done. So I didn't want to keep really close people even closer to have to see that, which is, in hindsight, very selfish and petty. But that's kind of the mindset when you're that absorbed with your own feelings. But so that song was super important to me, and I wanted to do it right, because it's a song that I got to live to write. So I needed to write it right. Right. Enough rights for you right there. Then he took a left. No, I'm joking. But it was good. And when I had it, I had it. It was like that spark. I was like, I love this. I nailed this. It was worth the wait. I'm glad that I did this the way that I did, because writing style wise, I don't usually do that. Like when I pick up a pen on a song, the song is done. I've very rarely gone back and changed anything about a song, like very rarely. And if it was because I was in the studio and felt like it needed an extra verse or a new bridge or something like that. It was never anything like editing wise or what, as far as like I'm gonna change some words around. It was just adding on. But this one was like, nailed it, Jeremy. Got to give yourself the pat on the back moments, because there's most of the time it's like you're doing everything wrong. But yeah, that song very important to me. It's about life, and it's about looking forward, and it's about remembering what's behind you, but remembering that you conquered those things. And the beauty in that, I think you have to appreciate that, because that happens for a reason. Like if the chances are, like if you or I were supposed to be dead right now, we would be dead right now. Like we're still here for a reason. We still have something left to do. So that's what you focus on, and that's what those moments in that history helped me realize, I think, as a person, that there's looking forward to death is a real waste of time because it's inevitable, So yeah, it's about life and the things that are to come out of it still.
Last question. Are you at the moment doing virtual concerts?
I should be doing more, to be honest with you, man. I have been sitting at my command station here and just like shooting out to playlists and doing like as much as I can. As far as that goes, the virtual concerts have taken a back seat for some reason with me. And I need to get back on it. I keep saying this. I really need to do that. But yeah, I should be, to be honest with you. But I haven't done as much lately. I think the last one I did was maybe like a month ago. So I need to step it up. I did go out to LA for a little bit and worked on some tracks with a buddy of mine. So I've been trying to stay forward focused as far as like, because this time I'm not comfortable doing live shows, especially with increasing numbers all over the place, especially here in Texas with COVID, and just trying to stay focused on what I can present as far as future self goes. And but I do need to get back to the live streams for sure, and I do plan on doing that. I keep saying that, but I'm gonna actually do it, I promise.
He said, "Hey man, remember that one time? It was broad, but I knew what he meant. Yeah, it's there in the front of the back of my mind, with all of my greatest hits. Yeah, those days ain't all California. What a trip in too many ways. Yeah, we're tearing up squares in front of a stranger, just getting messed up on a plane. Oh, I'd go back if I could. That ain't how it works. I lived it, I loved it, and all that I learned. Oh, time is a healer and life must go on."
And that is all. Thank you for watching. I want to thank our guest, Jeremy Parsons, for joining me on the Musical Interlude, and I want to thank you, the audience, for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Have a great day.